Ebisu is a nice note to come in on. A little short intro today. What is up, crew? Good to see you. Happy Friday. Here we are again, another week in the books. I'm Ben, welcome back to my channel KameTrick, and today we're going to be enjoying a little bit of circuit tandem drifting, and then a lot bit of Touge time attacking in AE86, which is a car near and dear to my heart. I used to own a supercharged engine swapped one, and they're little weapons on the Touge. And as you know, if you've been following my channel for a while, there was a point in time where I was doing an Assetto Corsa Touge battle challenge series, and we ran maybe 8 different tracks. We had a little bracket going. It was a good time. Made up some cars with custom physics that were decently balanced for the level of skill that we had at the time to do that project. And so I'm really looking forward to doing some more Touge driving, all things considered. I got to do some Touge driving last stream at a track called Takigahara. It was very challenging, very tight, almost like a rally stage disguised as a tarmac Touge, but it was very, very narrow, very challenging. I did terribly on the stream because it was the first time I'd ever driven it, and by the end of that stream I was feeling the track, and I actually drove it for like half an hour or 40 minutes after I finished the live stream, just trying to get a run that I felt was kind of passable. I finally did. Thought I would actually have that uploaded to the channel by now, but had a bunch of stuff happen at home this past week. So I'm gonna get that uploaded fairly soon. It's nothing special. It's just raw driving clip. I don't really think that those do particularly well on YouTube for me. I do know some people where that's all they do and their channels are crushing. So, I mean, it's possible. But I just want to upload it for me. Sometimes I get in my head too much and I think about what's good for the channel, and that's important to a degree, but at the same time, sometimes what makes the channel what it is me not worrying about that stuff and just doing what I'm excited by, and letting you guys come along for that ride and get excited by it too, if that vibes with you. So I am predicting that there will be some Touge battles in the future that I'll be hosting again, like I did in the original season 1 is what I've kind of called it. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for the cars. I'm actually thinking of a format where I will have just some pickup hot lap challenges in the AE86 Touge. It's a car everybody knows really well, except for me. I just started driving with it recently. So I need to practice a little bit of a way to force myself to suck less at driving such a popular car. And then hopefully I can sprinkle in some invitational actual battles on top of seeing who in my community in the Discord can set the fastest times on various Touge. So stay tuned. More will come out on that. If you're in the Discord, you will not miss that communication. But for tonight, we're just going to be driving, having a good time on OTM Lime Rock to get us started, and then moving out to EK Akagi from Initial D Arcade Stage 8, I believe it is. And then we're going to an original Touge that is not from any games, it's not based on real life, it's just a guy's creation called Mount Iri. So looking forward to that. Let me catch up with chat real quick. Sam Albert, Speed and Custom, you guys far too kind. Thank you for the kind words. Saban F1, 3 a.m. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. So sorry that it's so late. El Gato Galactico, ¿Cómo estás? Soy nuevo seguidor de Argentina. Thank you for tuning in from Argentina. I'm doing well. I don't really know very much Espanol. I can read just a teeny tiny bit, so I can recognize you saying, hey, what's up? And yeah, thanks for tuning in from Argentina. Hey, okay, and there's English just below it. I'm just going down the chat. King of Bread, what is up? Jackson, good to see you. Welcome back. Silver Voices. Just upgraded to the sprints. Oh, dude, that's sick. I'm either gonna get some sprints or some ultimates, even if there's equally good pedals that are cheaper. I'm stoked on my Husingfeld handbrake, and I kind of just want to buy everything they make now and become their best friend in the drift world. We'll see. Font of all garbage, what is up? Time trial among subs. That is the plan. I haven't actually kicked it off yet, but right now it's in my head, and I'm trying to send this out to you guys so that I can make myself accountable. I'm saying Touge battles are going to happen, and again, my thought is a hot lap challenge in the AE86 tuned at a Touge track. Concurrently with that, I'll probably have a small crop of drivers who all have test out a beta car that I'm going to try to come up with, and or upgrade one of the TSC cars, which were rather slow, the original Season 1 Touge cars, to something that'll be competitive with AE86 tuned, and then eventually roll that out to the greater community, and hopefully I can do a new Touge, and then another new car, new Touge, another new car, so that eventually we grow a group of vehicles that are going to be on like Kunos semi-slicks, and I might use kind of a spec-ish physics model, which I know isn't going to be the most realistic, but honestly there's not any car packs that are competitive on Touge and grip, in my opinion, and if there are some, let me know. But I feel like a lot of people make these awesome realistic one-off mods, and that's cool. The only problem is, like, it would be neat if there was more of a Touge racy pack that you could run together. That's something that I would like to bring to the community if there isn't one, even if I have to prioritize like car competitiveness and simplicity in building them and fun of driving over like outright realism. So we'll see. All right. Tutorial for beginners got me from spinning out at every turn to solid sliding. Very nice, dude. Hell yeah. Well, you'll get to transition soon. No worries. Ricky in VR for the first time today. Dude, that's going to be intense. Soban, find it hard to drift being a racer. It's weird. It's weird. I'm actually kind of almost on the other side. Like, I learned grip and drift driving at the same time, so like I'm sort of able to do both, which is weird. Usually people are hardcore grip and they either hate drift because it's slow, or they have a hard time like trusting the wheel and letting go and using the throttle to steer the car, or the drift side of guys are just like not able to not drift turns. Like, they're so used to sliding the car that actually gripping just feels so restrained that it's almost like not fun. I'm very slightly on the I'd rather drift than grip side, but I understand how to drive fast, and so if I really put my mind to it and restrain myself, I can drive kind of mid-pack in grip. Not amazing, but decent. Hardwood, what is up? And font of all garbage downside, garage S15, favorite drift car, and I see by far. Right on. Okay, we're gonna get driving. I started out just blasting some updates at you guys. I have had so much fun. We're gonna go ahead and go over to turn on desktop audio here. Go over to clips, and I'm gonna put you guys straight into POV mode here at this track. Real Taco, a broken foot. What happened, man? That is a bummer. You drop something on it, or take a bad step? I almost thought I broke my foot a couple years ago when I don't know if my kid had been, I guess my kid hadn't been born yet, but it was close, and I was really sleep deprived. Maybe she had been born yet, I don't know. I was really sleep deprived, and I just stubbed my pinky toe. The whole rest of my foot like went into a door frame, like through a door frame, and my pinky toe did not. My pinky toe hit the door frame and stayed there as I walked into a room, and it hurt so bad. It turned purple, but it didn't actually break. They can't even do anything for those little toes. Like, you just tape it up and try not to walk on it too hard for a while and send it. So it still hurts occasionally. It's a bad time. Let's see how our POV here is gonna look. Womp. As usual, I feel like my head is kind of crooked. I don't really understand how that works, but that'll do. Check out the studio. We got lights. We got a microphone. All right, let's do some driving. Taco says, tripped on my motorcycle. Engine came down and crushed my foot. Oh, bro. Oh, yeah. That hurts just thinking about it. I'm sorry to hear that. Saban, looking for a clean 180 to turn into a street racer. Heck yeah, that would be sweet. Kendall, what's up, man? Seen people talk about clutch feathering. What does this mean and why? Can do. Hardwood. The Cams event, unfortunately, I can't. My wife has got a performance. She does some dancing, and I'm going to be out at her performance at the Arts Festival in OKC. So I won't be out this weekend. I really want to go to Cams. I will be out at an invitational event. It's a private event next weekend. I think it's the 30th. I don't know for sure if I'll drive or not, but I'm at least going to go pick up some tires that I got in via a buddy in Dallas from a group buy. So that will be coming in the near-ish future, but I hope I'll get to cut a few laps while I'm out there. Of course, then again, yeah, we may get rained on pretty hard. Alright. So, our question from Kendall. We can try and talk about this. Clutch feathering. So, clutch feathering is a fancy, attractive way to say it, but essentially it's like slipping the clutch. So you've got my pedal cam down there, and like you have to let the clutch out slowly if you're driving in a real car to try and not stall it and like do a smooth takeoff. Clutch feathering is essentially this sort of a motion. So there's a few ways that you can control your drift car. Let me move my track map over here so that it's mostly out of the way. I'll slide down there. Alright. So I'm drifting, right? I can control my drift car by feathering the throttle. So watch my right foot, you'll see I'm moving it around. One might say that I'm feathering the throttle. Kind of obvious, right? Well, you can drive with just throttle, and especially in naturally aspirated cars, that's mostly all that you need to do. But there are situations where you might want to leave the throttle basically floored, and instead you can control the power delivery by feathering the clutch. Now, one type of clutch adjustment that is not feathering at all is a clutch kick. Now, if you blast a clutch kick out, which I don't need to because I'm in the red, but just bear with me, right? That is a clutch adjustment. It's designed to change how the car handles. And theoretically, if you feather the clutch, like anything that I'm doing with my right foot right here, I could just be doing with the clutch instead. I don't really drive in that style. It's kind of an old style, and it may be more applicable to the earlier turbo cars where they had journal bearings a lot of the time, which essentially means that they spool kind of slowly. They're kind of laggy. And so you wouldn't really want to take your foot off the gas if the car was going to get lag. So instead what you might find yourself doing is keeping the throttle down so that the engine, and therefore the turbo, is always spooled up and ready to deliver power. And if you need to essentially let off the power for a little bit, then you would actually clutch in or let the clutch slip a little bit. So while the clutch kick, just to give an example, is a very aggressive, snappy way to interrupt the power delivery, you can also slip the clutch a little bit, which like I don't do. It doesn't feel right. So like I have never practiced it, therefore I suck at doing it. I just don't need to. But if you imagine, like, hopefully conceptually that's enough to kind of get the gist of what that technique is. I think my honest reaction to it is, like, okay, it must have some value for turbo cars for the reasons that I explained about keeping the turbo spooled. But I kind of feel like most people that probably do it, and again, this is a total assumption, so like, I hope I'm wrong, I'm gonna be wrong, whatever. But if I had to make some commentary on it, the main thing I would say is like, I wonder how many people do that just to try to be cool, because they think like imitating Naoki is gonna make them cool. And like, it's loud, because you're gonna be like, wah, 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 wah. Like, if you're going through the pits, you'll hear people do that all the time. Like I said, of course, the cars sound kind of whatever, they sound kind of lame. But just imagine if somebody was like, all you'll hear is my actual mechanical pedals clicky clacking away. But you know, if somebody's like, hey, look at me, I'm so hardcore, I'm on Instagram drifting, I'm not actually on track cutting laps, and I'm just out here in the parking lot, wop, 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 wop. That's kind of like what I picture. I know that's super disrespectful, and like, that's not going to be everybody. That's kind of like the first thing that my mind jumps to. It's like posers who don't actually drive, who can't have throttle control with their right foot, doing that. But I know that like Nakamura is none of those things. I respect him a lot as a driver. So it's just kind of my hot take on it. Anyway, that's what feathering the clutch means. I'm not good at it, so I really can't comment on it in like a meaningful way beyond that. But I can explain conceptually what it is and how it works and why someone would do it. And I can simultaneously say, I have never found the need to do that with the cars that I have driven. So, yeah, it's an option though, and I should probably experiment with it, because if somebody does it, there's got to be a reason. There's something I could learn to improve myself as a driver. I used to never left foot brake either. I just did literally everything with feather and throttle, which you still see me do a lot, like I'm doing it right now. That's an interesting one too, because really feathering throttle is something that comes very naturally to me. However, it's so much easier to left foot brake. I'm just gonna try to follow him without left foot braking, but yeah, there's bound to be useful applications to a clutch feathering technique, and I just need to try it so that I can figure out what they are and add it to my bag of tricks. It's one of the main things that you really should do as a driver. You want to be an initial lean nerd for a second. Buta actually says this, is like literally try to drive every way you can think of, and then try to drive some ways that you can't even think of. Like, just do all the things, and you'll find a use for them eventually. You might have a very specific technique that works for exactly one turn, but it's still better than not knowing that technique at all. Probably meet up with somebody for some tanderoonies at this point. We're just kind of like ranting and flowing. So, let's see what we got. I haven't done a single lap on Erie yet, Hunter. I kind of like intentionally waited to post the map because I bet that most people have never heard of it. So I want everyone to suck as bad as I do, selfishly. Like, if I had any ego whatsoever, I would not let people see me learn Touge tracks, and I wouldn't learn them by just like sending it as hard as I can and crashing my way through the lap until I finally, after teleporting to pits like 30 times, get one lap that's not even clean, but just like I don't die. However, that's not how it is, but occasionally other people practice beforehand and come out and just look awesome. And I'm like, man, I wish I looked awesome. So hopefully it'll be a pretty solid free-for-all. I did not edit my file that I used from last week in terms of how the server is set up, so it's still set up to do races with a practice period, which is going to be kind of odd. But we'll make it work. Essentially, it'll just force people to get together periodically. A little weird. I never know when, like, the guy in front of me has an issue and ends up teleporting to pits, and then I get bumped by the guy behind me because I'm like adjusting for him. I always wonder, like, would that person, if we were all in real cars, which, like, I know that's a stretch already for a lot of people, but if we were, let's just say we all had our own cars like this, would they still bash into me or like bump into me? Sometimes it's not a hard hit, but still, like, would they hit me or would they know to adjust? Is it just it's a sim, so whatever, I'm just going to nudge this guy so that we can get back to business because it's not going to hurt anything? Or did they literally not watch 2 cars ahead, which a lot of people don't? Oh. Case in point. Oh, man. Let's see what we got. I'm going to read chat for a second. They were saying something about locking and unlocking the diff. Kendall, so like clutch differentials, which is probably what they're referring to, will, like most drift people, especially Japanese drifters back in the day, 90s and 2000s for sure. I don't know if they're still running clutch diffs or not, but they used to run two-way clutch diffs all the time. And so what that means is when you accelerate and a load is put onto the tires through the driveline, the rear differential will lock the tires together. And that's called a one-way. It happens during acceleration, one way, right? And then there's a two-way diff, which also locks when deceleration is applied through the driveline. So when you let off the gas and the engine braking happens if the car's in gear, or if you foot brake, the clutch diff will lock some as well. That lets you float the car on deceleration and generally keeps the rear from gripping back up when it is in drift. There's also a 1.5 way where it grips aggressively in forward motion, going this way, but when you're like on decel, it grips a bit, but not quite as much. 1.5s are generally a little bit more ideal for grip racing, but two ways are what I run on my car and what a lot of people who are not running well the diffs will run. So when you are feathering the throttle or the clutch, you're essentially moving, like if this is your car, you're moving energy. If the clutch is, released, engaged, and you're on the gas, you're sending power from the engine down to the rear wheels like so. And if you feather the clutch, then it's going to like release that for a second, so that will cause the clutch diff to open up a little bit, which will let the rear wheels have a chance to grab and make some traction. So it's possible that you could use that sort of technique to like get the car to grip up just a little bit, or if it's like gaining angle and pushing wide to the outside, it's possible you could use that to have it like not float so much. A lot of people these days will also left foot brake a little bit, and that'll use the front tires instead of the back to just pinch the car in towards the inside of the turn a little bit. This car I got at an anime convention in like 2002. It's actually radio controlled, which is pretty cool. What up, Jay? How's it going? Garbage. How many hours do I think Throttle puts in to get the laps he does? I have driven with him live, and he is quite good. Like, he's more consistent than I am at sim drifting for sure. I usually just go out and send it, and of course I'm talking all the time. Maybe if I like didn't talk in my videos and I only focused on driving, I'd probably be a lot better. But he's honestly really solid driving with live, so I imagine that it doesn't take him as long as you might think to turn pretty good laps on shorter tracks like this. He could probably, within the first 3 laps, he could probably put together a pretty impressive lap. And certainly in like one session, like 15-20 laps, he'd get a great lap easily, faster than I could for sure. A really long track, like if he was drifting board or something, or like LA Canyon drifting, like that might actually take a while, assuming that he or anybody doesn't use any sneaky tricks like changing to a different run during like a natural camera angle change from a TV cam, which I try not to do that. Occasionally I will if I've just been grinding on trying to get a good lap, but I don't usually make a whole lot of like cinematic videos, so not such a big deal. Some folks will do that though. What's up, Poets Corner? Welcome back. Good to see you. Really drifting very well here. Sort of halfway trying to reach that. Now you guys have got me thinking, well, really Kendall, but got me thinking about like, can I feather the clutch without just destroying myself? So if you feather the clutch when you're on throttle, the car's going to grip up. That's not what I want. I don't think there's a situation where I want that to happen. Oh, yeah. Definitely makes the car do weird stuff. But I need to start screwing around with that. Just see. What does it do? Right? Like, this is how we learn. We just go do things, and we're like, what happens if I just start feathering the clutch? Well, it makes me spin out. That's for sure. So mid-corner, it makes the car pick up angle. Yeah, I don't really see the point. I don't know. It's so awkward. It's like trying to, if you're right-handed and you can like throw a ball. It's like trying to throw a ball left-handed. It's just like, why? I don't understand. So interesting. So on with classic question. What's the general rule for camber in a drift car? I always assumed it should be relatively high and equalish for front and rear. Okay, let's assume that your car doesn't have any fitment issues. Because first and foremost, you'll find people that run like a lot of rear camber because they can't sit the tire upright without it hitting on the fender or something like that. So let's assume you don't have any fitment issues, and you can choose to run your camber settings however you want. For the rear, you generally want to run either stock rear camber or zero camber. Obviously, you don't want to run any positive camber. That's a terrible idea in any circumstance. But you either want zero for hopefully great tire life or just a little bit of negative camber so that the car doesn't really go positive at any point. And also, depending on your vehicle setup, like if it's got a semi-trailing arm rear suspension where it actually has camber change on compression, unlike a double wishbone, then you may want to dial in a little bit more static camber to keep it from going positive if it's the kind of semi-trailing arm setup where it actually goes positive on compression. So, like for me, I run about a half a degree, like negative 0.5 in my real car. And I get pretty good tire wear. It wears the outsides a little bit more, but I don't think it's because of the camber. I think it's because of the car actually leaning. Now for the front, that's where the real discussion comes in. You've got two basic scenarios because it really depends on whether or not the vehicle has been modified yet in terms of its steering. So most cars, when you steer in, the tires actually lay over in terms of camber. They have camber gain as you add lock. So here's what you got. I'm going to put you guys onto video clips, maybe. No, I'll just leave it. Tires, front tires, right? We're looking at camber. So like if we add camber, negative camber, then it'll go in like that, okay? We're looking inline, not top down. So when you steer the tires like this, they will actually lean. They'll pick up camber as you add lock. They don't just go like that, they actually tilt in. And the reason for that, as you probably know, is when you steer the car this way, so like we're turning to the right, the vehicle body, because of weight shift, actually leans over this way. So if the tires stayed perfectly upright and you turned the wheel like this, that car would actually lean into positive camber on your outside tire, assuming that you're in grip. That's not what you want. So the car designers realize this is going to happen, and they engineer camber gain into the tires when you steer. The more you steer, the more camber you gain. And the goal is that instead of ending up like this and being off balance, that you end up like this, and the car essentially keeps its contact patch with the amount that you steer. Now the problem for a normal car, that's how a normal car suspension is set up, even modern cars. If you go out to your modern car, cut the wheel all the way, and get out and look at the front tires, you'll see usually one of them is leaned over pretty hard. The other one not so much, because like the outside will lean more than the inside. So the problem is, when we're in drift, the weight shift happens in the opposite direction. Essentially, in grip, you cut the wheel like this, the car leans this way. In drifting, to go around a turn that's this direction, I'm going to be sliding the butt of the car, which means I'm going to be counter-steering the other way. I'm going to be steering this way. The car is still going to be leaning in this direction, but instead of me steering in the way that it leans the tire this way, I'm going to have steered in the way that, because the designers assume that you're in grip all the time, that the camber gain's actually in the wrong direction. So when you're drifting, the more countersteer you add, the more positive camber gain your outside front tire that's doing all the work of keeping your car from spinning out is going to be under. You're going to increasingly be driving on the shoulder. How do we prevent that? Well, you got two options. You can either keep your car stock and add static negative camber so that you cancel out that positive camber gain. It's quite a bit of camber that you have to add. This is why on the old school cars that don't have like modified knuckles and lower control arms and things of that nature, like modified steering geometry, you actually see the Oni camber, the demon camber, where the rear tires are basically upright, the front tires are just real meated out like this. And the reason for that is because then, when the car leans and you counter steer this way to go around a turn in that direction, the car's going to pick up all this positive camber, and you're essentially going to set enough static camber that around 75-80% of your steering angle, you've got a flat contact patch. But in order to do that, you've got to just like -5 degrees of camber. Some folks run more, but like -5 sounds crazy, but it's actually a decent amount. Your second option, instead of keeping your stock steering geometry and cambering the shit out of your front tires like this, is to actually replace the component parts that determine how much camber gain the car gets when you steer. That would be mainly your knuckles, which are going to have different pickup points. It's also going to be your suspension top hats and your lower control arms. This is essentially what a WiseFab kit does. A WiseFab kit, which is a drifting specific steering angle kit for your car, takes all that geometry, all the stuff that the engineers did to where like the car gains camber when you steer, throws all that out the window. It changes how everything pivots. And so what ends up happening is essentially... Sorry. It's a minor pet peeve of mine when people do donuts while I'm trying to talk. It's just my problem. It distracts me. So anyway, you can change out all of those component parts, and then you can end up with a system where essentially the wheels don't have camber gain when you're steering. And when the wheels don't have that camber gain because you've replaced, you know, the knuckle, the control arms, and usually the top hats on the strut up at the top where the strut towers are, you don't really need to run camber. So FD cars running WiseFab kits may have like -1 or 2 degrees. They don't need much because the tire will actually stay flat through the steering. But my car, for example, which doesn't have that, I run about -4, -5. I think I'm at -5 degrees of camber, 4 or 5 right now. I've modified some of my stuff, but it's not as severe, so I do still have some tilt. And what's cool, I should take a picture and post to Instagram or something, is when you go look at a car, you can really see, just cut it to lock and look at how much the tires have laid over. Go find a picture of a car in drift, like a well-tuned drift car. Look at the lead tire. The lead car, like if the car, oh, that just broke. It's meant to come off of here. It didn't actually break. If the car's in drift going this way, so you're counter shit out like this, right? Then find a picture of that car like this. Look at that front tire. See if it's leaned in this way or that way. Stock cars, it'll be leaning way over here, running on this inside edge. A well-sorted car, it'll be pretty much flat or very close to it, depending on how much angle they're using. Obviously, this angle is like not enough to be very good for drifting, but just what I had around to make a point. Let's pick up this thing I dropped real quick. Grassroot Digital, far too kind. Definitely had to think through how I was going to try to articulate that. But yeah, we don't actually have to run that much camber. I've talked with C. Toretto like on voice, but he doesn't usually chat too much during his live streams and stuff. Drifting on IC with PS4 with the G29 help in real life a little bit. Yeah, it can. It'll actually be considerably easier in real life than it will be on like one of the Assetto Corsa official drift mod cars and a G29. So, you know, you'll be able to make some progress on your muscle memory. Unpopular opinion. I think a lot of folks, even in my own Discord, are pretty talkative about what's realistic and what's not, and how you should, and this is true, you should try to use the most realistic stuff that you can. But I don't think that driving a gear drive wheel is completely without value. It's just, what I don't want is for people to think that it's going to feel like a real car feels. But honestly, you'll be doing more work rocking one of those with like a kudos stock mod car, stock drift spec car like the E36 Drift or the AE86 Drift or the Supra, then you will be in real life by a lot. And it's not like that means that you're doing extra reps at the gym and so you're going to be that much better. No, you're just going to have like irrelevant driving habits that, you know, they won't necessarily hurt you, but they absolutely won't help you in any way. So you'll have less head scratching for the most part, but you'll probably have to unlearn what you have learned a little bit, just because you'll be too reliant on handling the wheel to drive the car. And really, the best drifters drive the car with the throttle. They steer the car with the throttle by balancing the weight shift. And because a Logi wheel spins poorly, you're going to be kind of probably reliant. My theory is you'll become pretty reliant on manipulating the wheel to drift because you have to, because it spins too slow in the sim. But in real life, none of that's a problem. And so like it's going to take you longer maybe to figure out how to drift with throttle, because you're so used to having to be focused on the steering. That's my guess, if I had to. So, I gave you like the best answer I'm capable of. I'm sure that that's way more information than you're probably hoping or expecting, but my MO for these live streams is pretty much to hang out with chat, find a really good question that I can rant on for a little bit, and then go drive while I do it. And or actually break down what I'm doing technique-wise. And so I always enjoy it when I get a good question. That's 240. And here's Robot 2. Let us roll. Do a little actual driving here. Yeah, dude, my pleasure to share the info. I'm really bad at clipping my rants into meaningful short pieces of content, because like I'm sure that's something that would be valuable information to other people outside of the live stream, but I never take the time to do it, and I really need to. I think part of the reason that I don't is because I feel like the visual footage is just garbage. Like what I'm saying is great, but I almost then need to like make an entire B-roll video. Grassroot Digital, fellow video editor, knows what I'm talking about here. Covering all that stuff. Alright, let's drift with Robot here for a minute. Let's pay attention. So, as per the usual, we are watching his movements and watching the track. I'm trying to predict when he's going to transition. Time, I transition to be pretty close to the same time as him. I see that I'm not positioning myself quite in the same spot on the track, but I am getting my transitions to happen pretty close to the same time. A little too much decel there, so I picked up a bunch of angle. Didn't angle stall the car, but lost all my proximity as a result, so I'm going to have to blitz in here, take a few turns to catch back up. I'm going to catch up by taking a different line and transitioning early. See how I'm transitioning before him, and now I'm going to left foot brake up to him to pivot my car back out. Transition early one more time. Ooh, that was way too early, but it lets us get into position with a little bit of adjustment via foot brake and e-brake. Now let's not screw this up again. I wanted to left foot brake that last time, and I overcooked my left foot braking, and if you left foot brake too hard, it will really, where are we going? I don't know. That'll really put the car to a lot of angle, so I kind of messed that up. So this next time, what I did, this lap that just ended, and I'll do it again here in a second, is I picked a point, I left foot braked in about halfway, but assuming that he was going to drive it in the same way, I decided instead of taking the risk of left foot braking that and over-rotating the car as a potential consequence, instead I would clutch in and e-brake the last little bit. A little bit slower, but it gives me more control, and then I just clutch kick out when I need to. Let's see it again here. And now we're going to e-brake, clutch kick out. That lets me have a little bit more finite control over the vehicle angle, assuming that it's not a turn where he's going to like hop on throttle and rocket away from me. If I left foot brake a regular turn like this, then he's going to leave me a little bit when he gets on throttle because I have killed off some more of my speed. So interesting application where for me, I feel like a left foot brake is not always the right option. Even though left foot braking is boss for chase usually. See, Throttle is in the UK, I believe. It's definitely European. Closely here. Another concept that I think is really cool that not so many people talk about. Yeah, I'm in the dirt. What up, Turbo? Another thing that I think is really cool that not a lot of people talk about is the fact that the car gets shorter when it's in drift. And what I mean is if you think about this point right here where the butt of the car is, if this is the lead car and I'm back here, when they drift, they essentially go like this, and so you can see that gap, right? When they change directions, the car gets longer for a second as it straightens out and passes through this little pendulum, right? And so when you're in drift, what's cool is to get up onto people's doors. That's what everybody's trying to do. But when that car transitions, if you're still on their door, you guys are going to kill each other. So you have to sort of slide out of that pocket so that both of your cars, when they get longer as they face straight ahead for a minute on a transition, don't clip, and then you've got to slide back in there. So like a good transition as a chase car is going to look like this, right? One thing that's really important to be able to figure out, and you develop a sense for this over time, is where this line is. So you can be right here and it looks really close, but the lead car could transition at any time. Y'all won't hit. And it's just like in boxing. There's a certain reach that a guy has, right? And the other boxer, your opponent, they understand when they come into that I can get hit in the face zone, right? It's the same thing for drifting. You need to figure out where this spot is, and as long as you stay just outside of it, you can just hang out and do whatever you want. Doesn't matter how weird stuff gets. Generally, you won't get caught off guard. You won't hit them. But you got to be really careful when you push in past that. What's up, A-Tip? Dude, you just missed like stuff that you probably already know, but a really cool discussion. I should really clip it into something talking about camber on drift cars and like why they have so much or what people run. I'm gonna warm up the tires for a second. Do like one lap. And then we will, before we go to Touge, which is going to come soon, we will go down to some more tandems, and I'll just kind of show you guys a little bit about what I mean as far as that zone of being just outside of contact for transitioning. Kind of a weak transition on my part, my bad. I'm like weird on this track without someone to follow. Not very good to follow. So we'll warm the tires up here. For that. We'll just warm the tires up this way. Alright. get somebody to follow. And you guys see me do this all the time, but I will attempt to demonstrate being in that zone, right? Because it will feel a lot closer than it actually is. Sprint Curse is going to clear off one driver pretty quick. Sort of slowly work our way in here. I actually had to dodge there. I was like, it wasn't a great way to get into proximity, but I was inside of that contact zone. I've got to come up with a cool name for that, but for now we're calling it the contact zone. So I actually drove my car away with the super late transition, so I drove it out of the way of Matsuri 40SX, the lead car here. And sometimes you've got to do that in real life, where like they go to transition, and so you don't transition because you got to make your car shorter. But like right here, we're outside of that contact zone. We're pretty close. We were in it for a second there, but by the transition point, we're sort of back out. Here we're not in it at all, so I can just transition safely. But do you see how close that looks? Here too. See how close that looks? Like that, an A-tip, this is for you, that is where you can live if you're trying to do like final bout Matsuri, good for media style driving. It's even cooler to get closer, so I get bumped. But if your crew is perhaps like not quite there, got bumped again, bro. you need to understand where the contact zone is, because you're tagging me every time. Anyway, that's like a really useful skill, and it lets you safely develop more tandem confidence. This is how I drive in real life. Can I get closer? Sure. But in general, my goal is to sit right on the contact line. Worst case, my FRP bumper will eat shit for a second when we transition, and maybe my bumper will kiss the tail bumper of the lead car. But because it's real cars and not Assetto Corsa, and everybody's on fiberglass these days, that doesn't actually hurt anything. It doesn't like ruin you the way that it frequently does in Assetto. There was a proper slam. My fault. And like, it's kind of amusing too, because passengers generally don't have the expertise to appreciate this, so they think that you're like all up in somebody's business. And like, you are, but it's still fairly safe. You don't want to just go up to the line of contact if you're not skilled at controlling your car's proximity. You know, like you can see me make a ton of adjustments. I'll get left behind a little bit, I'll push in too close, assuming that my goal is like to just hang out near that point of contact. But I generally don't have any issues. Oh, that was real taco. That was some legit driving. Like, it's good follows if you're getting tagged. Real cars, if I was cool with that sort of stuff, that would be like epic footage. So I do want to compliment you on that. But if you don't have that ability, like if you're just choosing to drive that way, cool, good for you. But if you don't have the ability to not do that, like if you're always finding yourself tagging the lead car a little bit in sim, then it's a sign that you need to work on your left foot braking and get ahead of that a little bit, so that you can get close when you want to and not be like getting close because it's a lack of control. There's a weird phase when you're learning to tandem, and we're all learning to tandem. Even the animal style guys, they're still learning to tandem. Like, it's a skill that you always have to improve at. But there's a point where you're trying to figure out how to keep up with lead cars. And then eventually, that clicks, and all of a sudden, you're like driving up to everybody. And then you have to figure out how to not hit the lead car. After spending so long being like, I can't keep up, they always leave me. Which is so funny, but it's just how it works. You learn to compensate for that and transition correctly. Usually you get left behind when you're at that point because you're transitioning wrong. Like their car is preventing you from seeing enough of the track, and you're like transitioning just at the wrong points in time, and it causes you to get gapped every transition basically. So that gap builds up and you're like, okay, I can't keep up until I'm way far behind, and then I can just dive in on them, and then all of a sudden they slowly start leaving again. So you fix that by fixing your transition timing, and then all of a sudden you're like, shit, I'm way too fast now. All of a sudden I'm driving so fast, and it's usually because you're a little shallow on angle, or you're transitioning a little early. Usually it's line. Your line is just a little tighter and stuff. But at that point, you get to where you need to learn how to slow the car down while staying in drift. Because until this point, a lot of times to slow the car down, you just grip back up. You can't just grip back up now, you're trying to tandem. That's not cool. So, I mean, you should. If it's your only option, it's always better to grip up and not hit the lead car versus try to look cool and potentially hit the lead car. That's where left foot braking comes in. And you have to notice in advance, okay, I'm going to close on them, so I'm going to use the brakes before I get there. Watch my foot. Anytime I'm using the left foot brake, I could be choosing to get closer, and I'm intentionally choosing not to. Some of those times I'm being more cautious than I need to. But a lot of those times, it's because I know that we're going to transition a little bit later, like down the track, a little bit farther down this turn, we're going to transition. And I know at that transition point, both of our cars are going to become longer than they are right now. And so, in order to make sure that when both of our cars become longer, because they're facing straight at the same time for a second, because I'm transitioning correctly, in order to keep them from making contact at that moment, I know that right now, when I could get closer, I need to not get closer. Unless, of course, it's for media, or it's a super long, like, Lone Star Drift style turn, where it's going to be like a 3-second sweeper. Then you can really sit in there for a minute and then get the hell out of the way after that. But that, my friends, is your tasty tidbit of driving technique, Dorateku, from KameTrick. I'm going to take a break from, ouch, wearing the GoPro, which I'm pretty sure I need to get sponsored by Keeps because my GoPro is going to pull my hair out. Whew. Oh boy. So hopefully all your dreams will come true about how to tandem drift and how to set your car up for drifting. I feel like we have managed to get some good prompts. Like, I've got all this knowledge, and I think a lot of people are like this. When you know how to do something, you forget that that's not always common knowledge. Like, just in life, in general, right? Like, if you're able to juggle, that's a weird one. I could juggle. If you're able to whistle, you just kind of assume that other people that you meet can whistle. And when you meet somebody who can't, you're like, what? Huh? That's so weird. How can you not whistle? Like, you just do it, right? That's because what's normal for you feels like it should be normal to anyone. And the same thing applies to advanced skills. And that's why a lot of times you get folks who are very skilled, but they're poor teachers. They don't understand how to dial it back to a level that people who aren't as experienced, that don't know all these things, that's not their baseline, can understand and work their way up to where you're at. I feel like one of my general strengths is that I'm pretty good at that. But even still, there's all kinds of stuff that I take for granted that I don't think about. You know, what do you pack to bring to a drift event? How much does it cost to go to a drift event? How do you find a local drift event to go to? Just like all kinds of things. How do you jack up a car without ruining the underbody? How do you load your car in a trailer? All manner of stuff. And so some of these questions, you know, like what kind of camber does a drift car have? when do you left foot brake? What does feathering the clutch do? Like, that's one of my favorite parts about live streaming is I get these questions that are solid questions that I know the answers to, but I don't realize that, like, I should share that with people. So thank you guys. It's a collaborative process. There's a couple reasons I stream, and one of them is to get questions like this and be able to answer them. So all good. Taco, you were pushing me around a bit, but it's okay. Going to switch tracks while I check comments here. JT Pro, what is up, man? Not seen you for a bit. How's it going? I was just talking at the start of the stream about getting the Touge challenge going again, so it's kind of fun. Just bought a new car. Congratulations. Now I have the 99 3000 GT, which is a very cool car, and a 93 Factory 5-speed Lexus SC300. Very cool. Very cool. Those are neat cars, and they look nice. Okay, we're going to go to Mount Akagi by EK. This is an initial D Arcade Stage 8 port. We're going to be doing grip racing in AE86. So, I'm restarting the server. Thanks everyone who came out to drift. I hope that you'll continue to hang out with me and do some grip racing, but if that's not your cup of tea, I totally understand. As I always say, I'm never going to stop drifting, so you don't have to worry about that. There may be nights when I want to do Touge driving though, and I hope that everybody will be understanding and supportive, even if you have no interest in grip racing on Touge. We're going to be doing time attack runs. For the most part, I'm going to be learning the AE86 tuned. I generally haven't driven it. I have a rough idea of the Akagi track, and then after that we're going to a track that I've never seen before. So I'm looking forward to that. Okie dokie, let's get this server refresh going. Sometimes it doesn't take my control panel for the server will time out, and so I can click the restart button, and then in a second it like just goes blank instead of actually restarting. So did not look closely enough there. Font of all garbage. Yes, we are going to the Touge right now. I'm about to drop the password in as well. Faraz, what is up? When did I trim the beard? Yeah, man. I trimmed the beard around January? It was around Christmas, I want to say. My wife has never been a fan, but I like it, and it's nice when it's cold too. Keeps my face warm. But my wife and kid ganged up on me, and they were like, "Yo, Dad, you're too scratchy." So I went ahead and shaved it, and it's fine because like I'm getting to where I'm looking pretty old when I have it. And the other thing, if you're a person who wears a beard, if you're a guy who wears a beard, sometimes you'll go clean shaven for a while, and then you'll grow your beard back out, and like it'll start turning gray, and you're like, whoa, what is this? And experienced a little bit of that too. Didn't stop me from wearing a beard for probably like 2 years, but you know, it comes and goes. Just hair, it's all good. But I think that was kind of a fun one. All right, let's see. Kagi password is this, I think. I just run the car stock. I don't even take fuel out of it, even though you don't need, how much fuel is in this thing? 30 liters to do a lap. That's 5 laps worth of fuel at least. Honestly, I bought a stream deck just so I could mute myself when I'm about to sneeze. Can't lie. It's a thing that I wanted to not have to worry about sneezing on you guys. Okay. We have a car. There's the crew. Let me check my audio here. I would like my 86 to be slightly louder. It may get too loud for you guys, though. You'll have to let me know. got a about a 7-second wait here because this is set up to actually be in a race mode. So we're going to open up to practice here shortly. And any second now, should be able to go drive. Should. Not actually seeing the ability to do that. That's weird. Huh. We may have technical difficulties. Nobody's going. Okay, now we've got a 17-second countdown for an actual race. I think maybe we're okay. Okay, we're okay. That was weird. Maybe practice mode is borked, but we're just gonna try to send it. Let's see what happens. I don't understand what was happening just then. Oh no. At times. That's gonna hurt. We're making some pretty solid progress down the track here. Oh my. Almost died. As soon as I start talking, of course. That was pretty alright. And there goes Hunter. I felt pretty good about that run. For a first run, I actually made it down the mountain instead of crashed instantly. Oh, we weren't even on game view. That's alright. Happens. I was just too busy concentrating. Ugh. The way that the game works. It's a little mysterious to me. I'm not particularly good at it yet. As far as like actual race mode. I'm very poor at that first turn. Lost it sauce. I mean, it was pretty good. That was actually a pretty acceptable first run. I only wiped like, I think once. Okay. I guess the way that this is working, I may take the time to actually update the map. What it seems to be doing is making me complete. Like I had this. All right. I guess I'll stop driving. Leave the server. Fix this shit. Essentially, what's going on, guys, is I had a server set up for grip stuff, and it was on a race mode instead of practice mode. What ended up happening is we were doing Suzuka, 5 laps. So it's like 5 minutes of practice, 5 laps of actual racing, and then repeat that cycle. And on Touge maps, for some reason, the practice mode isn't always working. And then the 5 laps are literally, you complete a run, go back to the start, complete a run, do that 5 times, and that ends the race, whoever makes 5 completed laps first. This car's handbrake doesn't really work. It works, but it's like has a half to a full second delay before it catches. It's not really drivable in that regard. So what it's doing is it's saying we're currently in a race and people can't join mid-race, even though that means like 5 trips down the Touge. I've just realized this based on your all's comments, so let me figure out how to turn off. What? It's not even in race mode. What the hell? Okay, never mind. Wrong map. That would explain that. So we need to go to sessions, turn off race mode, set practice to an hour and a half. Let me read about what this does. Pickup mode I think works, loop mode should work. Practice can join. Quali can join. Alright. We're gonna get this fixed. What I'm gonna do is update what I have for the next map as well, because this same issue would happen on the next map. So hold tight for just a second. I'm not even in the server anymore, so we're going to restart the server. We're going to blast that in there. Okay, that'll fix our next map, and then I will change it back to a doggy. And we're going to do 16 cars. Okay. And now our sessions should have stayed just practice mode. Easy living. This password will not change. Save it. I do have to update the folder name, because that is how I change servers quickly normally. So I need that information so I know what this config file is going to have. Okay, now we'll stick this in my servers folder. Delete that one. And last but not least, we'll update the config files in the server and reboot the server. Sorry about that, crew. Totally not intentional issue there. But we are restarting the server now. Password is not changing. So I'll see you guys in there. Yeah, I'm not even driving at the moment. I just had to reset the server. But now we will get this all set. Oh, what an experience that was. Okay. Well, thank you for the tech support there. We got it all set. Cool. Alright, there is no longer any manner of race logic here. It's just open practice, so anybody who wants to shred can just go. Trying not to wipe myself out on this first turn. Ultimate treachery here. Okay, should have gone down a hole here there. This track feels so wide. Quality driving with turbo. That's pretty good. Whenever you use the trade out a crash. Maybe. Sure. Vix, if you can drift, then you can drift. This is not a drift map though, so may not be ideal. Lead for turbo here. I do switch feet depending on what I'm gonna do. If I need to perform a heel toe downshift, then of course I'll go and do that. If I don't need to heel toe, then I will, of course, not. Oh no. See ya, bullet. I feel like we're probably gonna get wrecked during this one. Good line by Turbo. chat window's right where I need to be looking there. I'm gonna have to scoot that out of the way. Yeah, I could have stayed at third there too. Oh, not enough. Counter steer. Rare for a drifter to not deploy enough counter steer in a spin that slow. Thought I could hold it. I could not. Alright, Vix, we'll see you around. I'll move chat a little bit to a less noticeable location here. Yeah, I've done Shutoku before. The cruising on it is one of the more relaxing things that we do occasionally from time to time. much sauce. If I come in, I was actually talking about this at the start of the stream, so a little bit more detail is in the VOD, or will be in the VOD, because that's basically what I opened with. But I'm probably going to put together some hot lap challenges within the server to get us started. And then once we get through that, I will try to develop a small group of battles to live stream. I don't have unlimited time to do like an all day long stream though, so I may only invite like a certain number of cars to qualify for each one. Turns left here. Hey Marco-san, what is up? Welcome back. I use my 40-inch TV 2 feet away from my eyes. How much better is triple for peripheral vision? So my monitors are 32-inch, and so 40 is a fair bit more, but I mean triple 32 is quite a bit. Like I can look from here, that's like looking at one edge, and here is looking at the other. So it's a pretty big amount. I also wonder too if you're that close to a TV, if it lacks the detail, like if there'd be a significant improvement. Because I don't know if your TV is going to be, you know, 60 or 144 refresh rate. I don't know if it can do 1440p or if it's 1080p. So there could be some considerable quality gains, but I mean, you've seen my setup. So this is what, like, if I stick you next to my eyeballs instead of up on my forehead, like this is what I've got with triple 32s, which I feel like is a fair bit. So that's what I got to say there. And yes, Akagiyama desu. Sometimes I wonder if that dude is hitting me on purpose. Should I go first? I like to wait until the first turn to really send it. Although I need to practice this right here, I'm not any good at it. Working on my vision a little bit. I've got a bad habit of still only using kind of like one monitor sometimes, even though I have 3. So, I'm trying to pick up my vision and look down the track way over here. I don't think I trust myself to actually do that in Sim. So my vision is a little short-sighted, and therefore I wait a bit too late to accelerate out of some of the turns. Stuff like this, it's not so bad for. But turns like this, I let myself down if I don't actually look ahead more. Oh, what am I doing? I have used an FOV calculator. I sure have. I haven't followed it to a T, but I know what they are. I know how they work. I know why they work. And I used it as a baseline, and then made a few tweaks to get something that I was a little bit more satisfied with. The next time I look at my FOV for Assetto will be probably when I upgrade to a 80/20 rig. I have to do all this stuff over again and really get to put the monitors close, because right now the monitors are still stuck a little bit behind my wheelbase. 8020 is the aluminum, extruded aluminum that you see sim rigs being made out of. Whew, it's warm. Let me see what time it is. Alright, gonna do one more run, and then we'll switch over to Edie. I mainly just wanted to make sure that I understood how to drive this track. Which I understand enough. Experimenting with the apex on that was not the right answer. Too soon. I also haven't experimented with where the walls are on this track. And like how cuttable gutters are and things. Mint is pretty quick on this map, I'm already able to tell. Oh. Drove off the side of the crack there on the inside, that was no good. But we are here to experiment and learn. That's what happens when you grab a wheel, for example, on the inside of the turn. That's a bad time. Oh, you're fine. Oops. Sorry, Reg. Stress, I have no idea. We got launched there. I have no idea what kind of 8020 rig I will get. Like a spark in the dark, yeah, man. A little bit of sparks coming out those guardrails. All right, last run. Complete with the understeering the entire way down the fucking wall. That didn't work at all. better? That was not. This lap down, we will make our way to our last Touge map of the night. I'll count that. Ooh. What's up, Hazy? How it goes? We are just rocking and rolling here. As far as the rig, I mean, you can purchase 80/20 extruded aluminum in random lengths off the internet, so I could probably make my own, but then again, I may just buy something pre-built. Let's see, we have got to open up this, open up that, and open up this. Then we will go to Mount Edi. This is a 7-kilometer original Touge road. I don't know if anybody's driven it yet. Kind of exciting. Already past the time that I tell myself schedule-wise my stream's going to end, but we're probably going to go till 11 or 11:30 so that we can enjoy this new track. Yes, Hazy, we were doing Touge battles in the Kunos AE86 tuned Tirreno on semi-slicks. It's like just the car from the Japanese pack. It is a car that I enjoy. Alright, so password going into KT Announcements channel right now. I am curious how the pits will work on this map, because it's supposedly got a ton of pits. It's 15 pits, but like there's just not that much. I mean, unless he has the cars like packed up in that area, there's just not that many places for everybody to roll in. So eventually I'll figure out, okay, people are going to spawn on the track there. Alright, that's how that'll work. Fair enough. Clean reverse entry. I don't think I have reverse entry clips of me, so if it was at Ebisu, that was a Japanese driver. Hey, it's Grant, what's up? In terms of both being lightweight, rear-wheel drive with relatively low power, similar-ish. Simply out of here. Alright, dude. Thanks for tuning in as always. Taco, you were quick too. Thank you. I'm getting decent at driving this car. I've never practiced doing grip in Assetto, so while I'm actually okay at grip driving in real life, I'm probably like slightly above mid-pack, but I'm not like a alien tier driver by any means. I am not experienced in how to drive fast in Assetto Corsa as far as grip is concerned at all. And everybody who I watch on YouTube, like when I was first getting into Assetto Corsa and modding, everybody shreds in this 8.6 on Touge, so I want to learn how to do it, and I'm just gonna make you guys watch me figure it out. So that's what we're doing. This is a track called Mount Edi. and I'm going to be a scrub and keep my track map right up in the center of the screen. It's a very tight Touge. Not a real track, just somebody's creation, basically. All first gear corners, someone said. And I'm over here like, that suits me just fine. Considering that my favorite track is like Itohazuka. Although man, an e-brake would be nice here. Really curious to see what the community thinks of this, if y'all hate this or not. Oh, because it's, yeah, this would be really fun if it were scaled up about 150%. But it's punishing like max lock first gear stuff. This is actually Itohazuka, but without the straight entries to Itohazuka. It's like being in a turn already, and then having to do that kind of turn. It's pretty rough, not gonna lie. Up to third for a moment. Back down to second. Here we're gifted with the straightaway. Top of third, down to second, and down to first. Pitching the car in. Second gear. We're gonna hang it in second, up to third for just a touch. Down to second, and back down to first. Oh no! That's not what we want at all. Wow, this is the slowest track I think I have driven. It's actually harder than Itohazuka in the sense that, like, at least Itohazuka gives you a straight shot before you have to navigate the hairpins. I get the impression my community is going to hate this track, and it may not make the cut for Touge Challenge. We'll see. I would run it, but it is kind of brutal. Third for a moment. Up to third for another moment. Finally, dead into the wall. Cannot thread that needle. This would probably be pretty fun in drift cars because it's very linkable. Jeez. And that's the bottom. Holy crap. Ugh. What do we think of that, y'all? God dang. Hunter. Yeah, man. First half. It's kind of brutal. It starts to widen out a little bit and get a little bit more varied. For Hazy, I do have triple monitors. This is my setup. So when you see me looking like way off camera, it's actually because I'm looking around at the monitors, which I don't usually bother with when I'm gripping, but it's almost necessary here. I have not tried RK's first stage AE86 mod, but I do like RK's content, and I've chatted with him in Discord a little bit. And as I get more into Touge content, I may hit him up. I'm trying to see. Be down to cut some laps with Hunter. See what it feels like to actually chase somebody down this. So I'm gonna take a moment, have a water break. Real Taco as well. I'll follow you. See what you got. Bouncing like the Dukes of Hazzard here. Perhaps an AFK Real Taco? I'm not really sure. No? Okay, maybe not. Let's see how stupid this will get with two cars. How many turns before I punt him? That's the question. Unless, of course, he just leaves my ass with superior driving skill. Like 3 turns before I punt him. Yikes. Okay, let me try not to punt. You mean I shouldn't have been trying not to punt from the start? Since my cornering technique is way faster on corner entry than this grip technique, but it's like usually slower on corner exit, which means it's slower overall. Trying to think, like, what about this map is even battle worthy? Like, if it's too slow, then you can keep up just because the lead car can't ever get away. Like, the only reason that you wouldn't win, or sorry, that you wouldn't keep up through this section is if you, like, got yourself sideways and stuck on a guardrail. When it opens up, I feel like a more skilled driver would be able to leave the chase car. But I'm not doing that great of a job right now, and Taco's not pulling away, even though he did great on Akagi. I waited way too long to get on the brakes there. Bypass Doom. Just barely. was ever a course where I wanted a cappuccino, it's probably this one. I just want the track to feel bigger. I was like, well, if I've got to go for a pass, this is where I should not have gone for the pass. On the treacherous bazillionth turn of Mount Erie, I committed seppuku. Alright. That's not actually something I should say, but I definitely wiped out really badly. Almost down the mountain. Oh no! Real Taco found the first real sticky guardrail that I've seen on this track, and I see why. And that's the end of the course. Oh, this was exhausting. Wow. Oh, that was a lot of work. That was a lot of work. This would probably be minorly fun to drift. Senpuku, very good. Ho ho. Well done, Taco. Sorry I killed you 2 times. You didn't deserve that. Jeez. Man, so am I. Granted, I have like 2 studio lights on, sometimes that light, 3 monitors, LEDs, and a computer like within 2 feet of me in a little like 8x8 foot room or something, so it gets really hot in here during the summer. I'm probably going to buy an air conditioner for just this room and stick up there so that I can make it fucking frigid in here. Because yeah, y'all will see me start to glisten. That was some real work. Woo! It was. That was stressful. I really wanted to like this track. But just, damn! There's just not anything to redeeming about it. Like, it's an awesome design. One of the cooler track designs I've ever seen. I love the concept. Where's the boys? Where's the boys? They're down here somewhere. Like, look at this chaos. It looks kind of cool. If these were second gear corners with an occasional first gear corner, it would be amazing. But it's just rough. Oh, Hunter with the masterful. A little drift around there. Yes. Oh, this is also why I don't do cinematic footage. I can see he's trying. Oh, boys. Yeah, I can see he's trying my shift lock technique. How do I get on that road? Look at that. He picked this technique up from me, I'm pretty sure. We were talking about it on Discord. Because the 8.6 tune has no handbrake, but you can shift lock in like a mofo. However, yeah, he's clutch kicking too. Okay. That makes more sense. Where are the other guys at? They're a turn behind, and of course the downside to the shift lock. Ultimately, you will wipe out at some point. Also, I just realized how Assetto Corsa trees are just plus signs. That's kind of amusing. And then way down there's the track. Like, it's quite an expansive track. and a city. Oh, should we try one more time? That's so punishing. Yeah, Kodachi, I agree. This would be a rough track to race at. Oh no. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go full drift mode to have any hope of making this work. Woohoo! Gosh, even in drift, this would just be a weird map. Too fast again. Oh boy. So here's what I want to know. What does this track feel like to drift on? Because yeah, that's a rough thing. Like go-karts, this track could be ripping in go-karts. Let's go to Mount Erie real quick. And let's see what like the WDTS AE Hachiroku feels like. I think that would be a pretty grooving option. So we're gonna try it one last lap before I go, because yeah, those laps, that was no joke. It was not humorous. A little too intense for my taste, I fear. But we'll rock and roll here into POV. Assuming that POV is working. Yes. Donut tight. Man, no joke. Donut tight is a good expression. Let me just make it to where I can see the track map. Because, yeah, I definitely need that. Yeah, it'd be fun in a go-kart. Also, have to take a moment and appreciate the KameTrick livery. Thanks to Mocked for putting this together. Beautiful piece of work. Sparkling. Oh, man. So radical. I dig it. KameTrick World Drift Friends. There it is. Let's wipe out. I've got to remember that the e-brake on this car actually works. Woohoo! 360 entry. It's even so narrow that the 8.6 feels too small in drift. Kind of frustrating. I can link the hairpins all day long, but if there's a small straight beforehand, it's very difficult. Fast, just like Ungrip. 5-minute 1. That sounds quick, man. Fast. Just barely kept it off the wall. That's so tough. Oh, because the track is just not quite wide enough to actually be able to drive the car, even at the WDTS angle, which some of those cars don't have crazy angle. Like, they have very realistic angle for non-like pro car 60-65 degrees of angle type stuff. Well, they probably have 60. But all that to say, definitely a handful. A Lotus 311, yeah, I can see that. Oh, well, when I drove Takigahara last week, at the end of the stream, I stayed up and did like half an hour's worth more driving solo because I was just pumped on that track. And by comparison, Akagi feels like a highway. It's super wide, although it's not that much faster. It's just there's quite a lot of room, and this track feels super narrow and super slow. So interesting, but I'm definitely too wiped out to do any additional driving this time. But we're going down my list. I'm practicing more Touge roads so that I can get better at driving them in general, get better at driving the 8.6 tuned as well, which is going to be sort of the foundation for some of the hot lap stuff that I want to invite the community to come and enjoy, and just kind of see what kind of times we can post up. We can talk about various corners where we can gain and lose time, strategies, etc., etc., and just in general enjoy the fun of Touge driving in addition to drifting, which is something that's always been near and dear to my heart personally, but it has not always been a huge facet of the channel as far as the content is concerned. So I'm going to, I'm just excited about it, and so I want to do more of it right now, and that's all there is to it. So we'll be doing a little bit more Routes Drift to FD car, maybe another time. The kind of tracks that I'm doing, and just the fact that I'm kind of exhausted from wrangling this last track, are not going to lend themselves to this particular day. But everybody, as always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. I do this every Friday at this time here on YouTube, and I sometimes stream on Twitch, but I'm going with what I'm going to call the Alexi strategy at this point, which is to say there's not really a schedule. I just kind of will appear when I appear. So we'll see how that goes. But you can always find me on Discord. You can always find me on the YouTube channel as well. So, have a good night, crew, and I will see you next week. I'll see you in the Discord, and when I have a little bit more research done on what sort of Touge roads I want to drive, then we'll have some hot lapping that we can do. See how fast we can go. Not like to see who's the best. I mean, someone will be the best. It will not be me. That's not my strong suit, but I enjoy getting better, so that's what we're gonna do. For us, thank you for tuning in. Raphael, Hunter, everybody, good to see you guys, and good to catch up. Peace.